mean, come on. Moshe Rabbeinu hit the rock? Come on. Hashem told him clearly to speak to the rock. Why did he hit the rock? The Rebbe of Herschel, the Chukas Torah, says a fascinating shot. And it's a little drushy, but it is what it is. The Gemara tells us above Metzia that whatever Avraham Avinu did for the Malachim himself, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu paid his descendants himself, whatever that means. Okay? And everything that he did through a messenger, like sending the lad to get the water, he paid to his, ancestors, to his descendants through a shliach. That the manna came directly from HaKadosh Baruch Hu from heaven, but the water came through Moshe Rabbeinu. Instead of Yishmael wasn't around back then, so instead of the lad, Moshe Rabbeinu gave us the water, this week's parsha, by hitting the rock. Now, the Gemara tells us that that the Shekhinah, the divine presence, was actually in the throat of Moshe Rabbeinu. So when he spoke, it was like Hashem was speaking. Now we know why he couldn't speak to the rock. Because if he spoke to the rock, David, who's speaking to the rock also?
Hashem.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu is speaking to the rock. That's the problem. Moshe Rabbeinu is not going to argue with the Gemara. The Gemara tells us that the water coming from the rock has to come through a shliach. If he would speak to the rock, it's not through a messenger. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, it's not going to come directly. The man came directly. The manna came directly. The water, it says explicitly, came through the shliach. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu didn't speak, because if he spoke, it's like God spoke, and that would be connected the Gemara against what the Gemara tells us. Sounds good, right? Problem is, he's missing one aspect. The Gemara tells us that when you get mad, when you get mad and angry, then the Shekhinah leaves you. So when he got mad, when the Jewish people complained, and Moshe Rabbeinu said, "Shimu na hamorim," you listen to me, you rebels. He got angry. He got upset. So the divine presence left him. And therefore, he wasn't connected. He didn't have the divine presence in his throat. And therefore, he could have spoken to the rock. That's why it was a very, seemingly it was a good thing. He was trying to fulfill the Gemara. No. You could still speak to the rock, as Hashem told him. The reason you didn't speak to the rock is because you want to fulfill the Gemara. But you're still fulfilling the Gemara because God left you when you got upset. When you got upset, and then you hit the rock. God wasn't with you at that moment.